welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria, and in today's video, I'm going to be discussing the best book series that I have read in many years, also known as Zero Repeat Forever by G.S. Prendergast. Zero Repeat Forever is a young adult sci-fi novel which follows Raven as the alien apocalypse happens. She, along with some other people she met at summer camp, struggle for survival. If you saw the title of this video, you'll know that this author needs our help. So I'm going to explain a little bit what I mean by that, and then jump into a review of this book series because I have so many thoughts. I enjoyed it so much and binged it in just a few days, trying to sneak opportunities to read anytime I could. Like, ha! I discovered this book series entirely from BookTalk, also known as Bookish TikTok, because someone made a video talking about this and it went a little bit viral. So everybody started chatting about this book. Turns out the author herself is on TikTok, and after her book started getting some buzz, she opened up a little bit more about the publishing world and some things that have happened with this book series that have made it so that the third book is not going to be published. Cue my tears. Essentially, there's a couple of factors in the publishing world that have led to this development. The biggest one is that publishing houses buy books based on what is popular at the time, then allot their marketing fund to all of the books they've bought, depending on which ones seem like they're going to sell the most. So there's basically different tiers in publishing. So for example, if they have like 10 books they plan to release in 2021, they will put a percentage towards a top tier. So like, let's say the top 3 will get this big chunk, then the middle 3 will get like a littler chunk, and the bottom 4 might get zero marketing budget beyond like the cover and some basic things. The other thing that matters is that the way publishing works is authors get paid most of the time by advances. So the publishing house buys your manuscript for a price, and that's called your advance. And then after, when books are sold, you might end up with royalties if you sell out your advance. So that means if you sold enough books that the publishing house made back all the money that they initially paid to you, then you can start earning royalties, which is a percentage of book sales. This is very hard to do and doesn't happen very often, particularly if you get a very big advance. So enter Zero Repeat Forever. When Prendergast sold this manuscript, YA sci-fi was huge at the time. I don't know what her advance was, but based on her TikToks, I wouldn't be surprised if it was well into the 6 figures. In other words, she got fatty paychecks for these books. At that point in time, it looked like it was going to be the next big series in YA, and all of her dreams had come true. When it came time to publish the books, unfortunately, there was a massive shift in the market where dystopian and apocalyptic and science fiction were not selling as well, and so essentially what happened is the publisher that she sold to went from seeing this book series as the next big thing, top tier, we're gonna push this, to we're not gonna make any money on this, and we've already lost money having paid her this big advance. So they essentially pulled all of their marketing and just dumped her onto the bottom tier and sent the books out into the world with no help. This happens a lot. Publishing, from what I understand, is super unpredictable, and up until the point of publication, you don't necessarily know how much help the publisher will give you. Again, I'm not an expert on publishing. This is just based on what this author has said and my own personal research. So unsurprisingly, when these books were released into the world, they flopped because they had no marketing support. The word wasn't getting out, and even though this author tried to put the word out, it really wasn't enough without the backing of a major publisher. And so that meant that the publisher decided not to release the third book. Third book is written. This author has in fact finished the trilogy, so the story does have an end that exists. It has just not been made available to the public. Then these books went viral on TikTok. Suddenly everyone's talking about them, myself included. I read them and loved them, and so suddenly there's all this buzz about this series again. And so we come to why the author needs our help. Essentially, the publisher has no plans to release the third book because they paid her such a big advance, and sci-fi is not huge. It looks like it would be a waste of money to them, and there's really nothing in it for them. So what we can do as readers who love these books is start championing them a lot more publicly. Essentially, if it looks to the publisher like there's a big enough fan base that they're going to make a fat paycheck off of it, they will consider releasing the third book. As of yet, despite these books going viral, it seems like the publisher has told the author's agent that they are not interested and to please make the fans go away. We are not going away. We are still here, and we want the third book. So I'm going to talk to you now a little bit about what these books are and why I love them, and hopefully you can go pick them up as well and start getting the word out as well. Because this predicament is based on sales, if you're going to get a hold of these books for yourself, it's really important that you don't pirate them or even borrow them from a friend. If you can buy them or go to a library and request that the library get it in, that's going to make a huge difference to the numbers. We need it to look accurately like there is a huge fan base for this series. So if people are borrowing from each other or pirating the books, there's no way for those numbers to be reflected back to the publisher. So with that said, let me tell you a bit about this series and why it's freaking amazing. So as I said, Zero Repeat Forever is a young adult sci-fi novel that follows Raven at summer camp when the Earth is invaded by aliens. Essentially, this aspect of the plot is your very standard survivalist story of kids on the run trying really hard not to die. So it's gripping. The way that it's written is very visceral, and I was on the edge of my seat. The thing that really sets this book apart for me is that it's also told from a secondary perspective of one of the aliens. He's simply called Eighth because that's his rank. They have no names. He just exists as Eighth, and his directives are to dart, which is like to shoot with alien darts, to dart the humans and leave them where they lie. He has these being fed into his mind constantly, but part of him is resisting. There's a strong part that feels empathy for the humans and that doesn't actually want to fill these directives. And so for that, he sees himself as defective and is constantly battling between the order to annihilate the humans and his desire to escape this and to let them live. I think this really makes the book stand apart from other sci-fi apocalyptic kind of stories, because when you have these humans that are viewing the aliens as like robotic monsters that feel nothing, you also have the perspective of one of the aliens that suggests there's a lot more going on beyond just an invading force that all want to take over everything. Kind of the catalyst that sets this series in motion is that Raven is injured and separated from her friends, and Eighth deserts his force and they end up colliding. Eighth decides that he's going to try to save Raven's life and that his purpose is going to be to keep her safe and nurse her back to health. So now you have two people on opposing sides that should hate each other that are forced together for their own survival. So that's the basic premise of book one. As I said, it's spoiler free, so I'm not gonna get into too much more than that, but there's queer rep, there's POC rep, there's amazing writing that just like sucked me in, and I binged this like crazy. I was sneaking it into my backpack and trying to just like anywhere I went read it anytime, even if it was only for a few minutes. The characters are so precious and I just wanted to like hold them and make sure they were okay. And like, especially Eighth, he's just like this adorable little alien like learning how to like experience human love, but it's just like, I can't. Basically, the only problem that I had with this book, trigger warning for like non-consensual sexual contact. Slight spoiler, not really, it's not really relevant to the plot, but essentially the main character, somebody touches her boob at one point non-consensually. She doesn't exactly not want it, but she didn't say yes either. And then the person is like kind of embarrassed and like, oh, sorry, I did that. And her response to that is, oh, that's fine. Like teenage boys are just like that. They're always trying to be cheeky and like get a little piece of you. So it kind of normalizes sexual harassment, even though I don't think that's the author's perspective, because by the time we get to the end of the second book, that is addressed as like not okay. Like the character directly thinks, no, that's not okay. I will beat up anybody that does that to me. But like her response in the first one is very much like, oh, don't worry about it. Like boys will be boys kind of vibe, which I didn't really like, but other than that, the rest of this was just freaking amazing. I recently read Six of Crows and of course loved it. I finally feel like I'm in the know of the fandom, but like this, I don't know, like it's almost better. Like, I don't know if I can say that, but like it's next level. I don't know. It just, the tone felt very like Hunger Gamesy or Divergent to me, which is like, not to say those books are the best in the world. I mean, I think the Hunger Games is unreal, but like it had the vibe of like old school YA almost, which is not to say like new stuff is bad. Like I like the direction YA has gone in a lot of ways, but I just felt like this was fresh and the characters were much more real and the way things developed was very reasonable. I don't know. I just really liked it. I really liked it. Even teared up a little bit. So all that to say, I really, really hope that you get your hands on these, because first of all, it's freaking amazing and will change your life. But like, second of all, I want the third books. So I need you all to read these. So yes, Zero Repeat Forever and Cold Falling White, unreal. Please go read them immediately so we can talk about this. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support this channel, you can find a link below to my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can make a one-time donation or become a member of this channel. All of the money I receive from there I put towards putting my music up on streaming platforms. So if you like to listen to my music on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever, that's always a huge help to me. Once again, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.